In a previous video, I showed you the hierarchy of our number system. At this point, I would like to pull out the real and imaginary categories and just give you a little bit more information about this one, the imaginary numbers. The real numbers are the ones that we work with. We have counting numbers and positive and negative numbers, fractions, square roots, decimals. So the real ones are what you're the most familiar with. The imaginary numbers, basically there was a glitch in the calculation of negative square roots. This is what precipitated this category. When you have a square root, which is a real number, like 25, what we're really doing is taking a doubles of this, or we're factoring it into its parts that match. So we have 5 times 5 is 25. We can then say that the square root of 25 is represented by one of the 5's in the pair. So one of these 5's would come outside of this radical sign and equal 5. So if you were ordering pizza, let's say, and you called up and said you would like to order radical 25, or the square root of 25 pizzas, you certainly would not communicate with the pizzeria. But if you simplified or renamed this, you would have a 5, because the square root of 25 is equal to 5. So if you talked with that pizzeria and said you wanted 5 pizzas, you would have communicated mathematically. But what happened was, when mathematicians ran into this situation, where they had a negative 25, because when we factor this, we are factoring negative 5 times a negative 5. Before, 5 times 5 was 25, but the negative part has to come out identical match. And when this is multiplied together, 5 times 5 is 25. The signs are the same, so in positive negative rules, the 25 would become positive. Well, that's not exactly what we have here. We've got a negative 25, and mathematically, the rules of positive and negative and the rules of square roots didn't quite mesh. So mathematicians decided to put in a new category called imaginary. Imaginary numbers do exist. They're not in the category of real. Let's call them existing. But even these real numbers represent a value. This number 5 is really representing this value. It's a symbol for this set of dots. And we're used to symbols even in our reading and spelling, because this is a symbol, and this is a symbol, and so is this a symbol. And for someone who is just learning the alphabet, your preschooler, or someone that is learning English, these symbols are sometimes hard to understand until you put actually meaning with the b, and a sound. And we have this symbol and this symbol. Those were Greek letters. So perhaps you would recognize these in a sorority or fraternity row at a college, but certainly we don't use these per se. And the characters for a language like perhaps Chinese or Vietnamese, those would be very difficult for a person to learn if they were learning that language, if it wasn't native to them, because they would have to give meaning to those characters.